Bringing you the latest news from around the world and here at home. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Jitendra Gulasena. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
The GMOA and CEB strike claims the life of an individual in Hinguragoda. CEB strike to continue. Retired employees recalled to service. Protests erupt in Kalutara against the CEB strike. Presidential Commission informed that Arjuna Aloysius lied to cope. Janadipati Thatta, a book penned by Chaturka Sirisena, launched.
A patient who was admitted to hospital following a heart attack died because of medical negligence and a power outage.
This individual was brought to the Hinguragoda Division Hospital on Wednesday after suffering a massive heart attack. However, his relatives were forced to move him to the Polonnaruwa General Hospital solely due to medical negligence and a power outage in Hinguragoda.
The distance between here and where he works is 2 kilometers. We took him to the hospital and there were 2 ambulances. No one was interested about treating him. An attendant called the doctor but no response. It was like they were drunk and had to wake them up. It was like they were threatening us to take him back. A doctor should at least have something like a torch to examine the tongue of the patient. He should be sent home. He should take the stethoscope and go home.
He could have done the treatment. I lost my brother because we were asked to take him to Polonnaruwa. Didn't he have the torch at least to give my brother pills without blaming it on the power cut? Why didn't he do that? Does the ambulance need power to run? If he had done it right, my brother would have lived.
The victim was MJ Sunil Karuna Ratna, a 56-year-old father of 1. He served as a public health inspector at the office of the medical health officer of Hinguragoda.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has decided to recall employees who went on retirement after the 1st of September in 2014. The CB said that retired field technical services officers and drivers will be recalled for service.
The Joint Trade Union Alliance of the Ceylon Electricity Board was engaged in a strike action for the 3rd day. They charged that the salary increase provided to electrical engineers, considering them as a special group back in 2014, should be cancelled, or the salaries of the others should be increased to coincide with that particular salary hike. The general public was severely affected by the strike action carried out by the CEB. Trade unions announced that they will continue their strike action after the discussions held between them and the authorities failed.
They asked how much we want to be silent on this matter. When we refused, they issued a circular citing that officers on probation and others would be considered as to have left employment. We will cast aside that letter and remain in the strike action. We will challenge the government to remove at least one of these employees. We will not return to work unless everyone is taken in. There are no party differences here. We are banded as one. We challenge the government to say that the essential service rule has been violated. We will violate it. We will secure the remaining 3% on this. We will report to work if action is taken tonight. If not, we will violate the rules of the CEB.
The Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy says that all necessary steps will be taken to ensure that there is an uninterrupted supply of electricity.
We are taking steps to ensure there is an uninterrupted supply. We issued a notice last night to the employees who are in the probationary period and to the casual employees to abandon the strike action and to report to work at the CEB. We hope that employees who have not done so will report to work. If not, they will be considered to have vacated their positions and take action. We ask the trade unions to find a solution to this problem through discussions.
Residents of a number of villages in Yatadola Kalutara protested this evening against the power outage they have been experiencing over the past 3 days.
The protest was held obstructing the main road near the Alutgangoda junction in Yatadola Kalutara. The protest caused heavy motor traffic in Matugama, Payagala and Yatadola. One of the protesters climbed onto a tower carrying the high voltage electricity cables and continued his protest.
In other local news, a motorcade organised against the private medical college in Malabar to coincide with the strike action launched by the Government Medical Officers Association reached Colombo this evening. This caused a major traffic congestion in the city and its suburbs.
The motorcade reached the Lipton Circus this evening from Chilaw, Awisawilla, Pasyala and Kegol. All roads leading to the Lipton Circus were blocked due to the arrival of these motorcades. A platform had been set up on the road leading to the National Hospital, on which the organisers planned to address the protesters. This caused a difficulty to an ambulance transporting a patient.
This is the time everyone travels after work.
They're insane.
We are against this. This is where the hospitals are and we have no way of travelling. They call themselves medical students, but they don't have brains. It is Friday and we are heading home.
This is how the protesters taunted the police officers who were on duty at the locations. The protesters remained at Lipton Circus for around an hour and a half and held a rally.
Patients were severely inconvenienced today as well as a result of the GMOA strike that was carried out across 5 districts against the Malabar Private Medical College.
The protest was held in the districts of Colombo, Puttalam, Gampaha, Kalutara and Kegol. Today was the 4th and final day of a series of strikes carried out by the GMOA across the island against the Malabar Private Medical College.
There is no point talking about this. They strike every day. We don't benefit from this. They say doctors are gods, but they are not. They are useless. This child was down with fever since last night. How am I going to give her medicine? We were not aware of this.
Monks commenced a walk to collect funds to pay the fine that was imposed by court on former Secretary to the President Lalit Veerathunga and former Telecommunications Regulatory Commission Director General Anusha Palpita.
Several MPs from the joint opposition together with the Mahasangha organised this campaign from opposite the Sri Sambhuddha-loka Vihara in Petta. They pointed out that the funds are being gathered for the fund to secure the release of those imprisoned over the sailcloth incident. The walk by these monks commenced from the Sri Sambhuddha-loka Vihara and proceeded to the World Trade Center to collect funds. The monk returned to Petta and concluded their walk to collect funds. The 35th National Information Technology Conference 2017 concluded in Colombo today. The 2-day conference commenced on the 13th.
Who's the immediate past chairman
The conference is being organized by the Computer Society of Sri Lanka and is held under the theme Towards Digital Prosperity. This year's conference is considered Sri Lanka's biggest international ICT event. Several key personalities in the ICT sector spoke at the event today, including Professor Chandimal Jayawardena, Dr. Dayan Rajapaksa, the chairman of the eSoft Group, and Miss Brenda Ainsley, the past president of the Australian Computer Society. Sheban Daniel, Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, spoke on the democratization of communication technology. Head of Digital at the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, Buddhika Sena Sekara, who is also an Executive Council member of the Computer Society of Sri Lanka, as well as Priya Ludugampula, Director Engineering at MTVMBC, also attended the conference. Sirasa TV, Sirasa FM, Shakti TV and Yes FM were sponsors of the event.
In other local news, a Financial Times journalist was killed by a crocodile whilst washing his hands in a lagoon in Sri Lanka during a holiday with friends.
Paul McLean, a 24-year-old Oxford University graduate, is believed to have wandered off from friends in order to go to the washroom before being ambushed by the reptile as he dipped his hands in the water. He is said to have been seen waving his hands in the air in desperation before being dragged underwater at a lagoon known as Crocodile Rock, located just minutes from the popular surfing beach Arugam Bay.
And now in news just in, President of Sri Lanka Cricket Thilanga Sumudipala said a short while ago that former Sri Lankan cricketer Graham Labrui will be appointed as the chairman of the Cricket Selectors Committee. Sumudipala made his statement addressing journalists following a workshop held in Battaramulla. 53-year-old Labrui has represented Sri Lanka at 9 test matches and 44 one-day internationals.
Now in some news overseas from the North Korea crisis, North Korea has fired a ballistic missile across Japan, creating new tensions in the region after its nuclear bomb test less than 2 weeks ago. What is so alarming about the new launch is that the US Pacific territory of Guam, which North Korea says it has plans to fire missiles towards, is 3,400 kilometers from Pyongyang, putting it within the range of the latest missile.
South Korea's military says the missile reached an altitude of around 770 kilometers, traveling a distance of 3,700 kilometers before landing in the seas off Hokkaido. It flew higher and further than one fired over Japan late last month. As with the last test on the 29th of August, the missile flew over Japan's northern Hokkaido island before splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. There were no immediate reports of damage to aircraft or ships. Sirens sounded across the region and text message alerts were sent out warning people in Japan to take cover. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said his country would never tolerate such dangerous provocative action. US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson also condemned the launch, and the UN Security Council will meet later today in New York at the request of America and Japan. Tillerson put the burden of response to the latest test on China and Russia, the North's main economic partners. Now, how does this impact Sri Lanka, considering our nation's geopolitical significance?
So the impact on Sri Lanka is obviously not going to be as deep as the impact on certain other countries in the region. We live in a nuclear neighborhood ourselves, and that makes it very imperative for us to watch this unfolding drama very carefully, because we might learn lessons from this that might help us protect our own interests if at all a similar confrontation blows up between India and Pakistan. Now, China is under enormous pressure right now, and it would be interesting to see if this entire thing makes China reevaluate its foreign policy. If there is a downturn in the China-North Korea relationship, that could mean a downturn in the relationship between China and a number of smaller countries, including Sri Lanka, because this might mean that China is reevaluating, introspecting on whether its current strategy is even viable in the long run. It's estimated that about 6,000 Sri Lankans are currently employed in South Korea, and if at all things do spiral out of control, that would have to become the #1 priority of the Sri Lankan government.
Moving on to a developing story here in Sri Lanka, it has come to light that Arjun Aloysius of the Perpetual Group had lied to cope on the bond inquiry. Zulfik Farzan reports on Bondgate.
In a statement to COPE, Arjun Aloysius had said he was not involved in the operations of Perpetual Treasuries Limited. However, during the cross-examination of Kasun Palisena, the Aegis Department had pointed out Arjun Aloysius was in fact involved in PTL operations and is the decision-maker at PTL. Kasun Palisena, the CEO of PTL, admitted that Aloysius had in fact deliberately lied to COPE on the matter. In addition, the Aegis Department pointed out Arjun Aloysius would be aware of PTL violating the central bank regulations on a frequent basis. The members of the Presidential Commission were not pleased with the manner in which Palisena was responding to the questions and noted, if he is not telling something true, at least make it believable. When the cross-examination of CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Kasun Palisena was taking place, Deputy Solicitor General Milinda Gunatilaka put to him that he, along with Arjun Aloysius, were involved in the fabrication and destruction as well as concealment of evidence for the purposes of misleading this Presidential Commission.
Let's now take a look at some of the views expressed on the political platform on the bond scam.
Filing a case against the silk cloth case is political revenge. Conducting investigations into an illegal ID number of Shiranti Rajapaksa is political revenge. When investigations are conducted into the Red Cross defender that was used in the Tajuddin murder, that is political revenge. Conducting investigations into rackets where people's assets were forcibly taken over is political revenge. Investigations into Desi Forest's bag of gems is also a political revenge. So how can we correct this situation? Are they telling us that those who commit wrong can live peacefully after they leave office? Today, that is not the case. Now in the bond case, committees were appointed, the case was taken up in court, and in the midst of all of this, the Presidential Commission was appointed. However, we don't know whether the bond scam too will end up like the Millennium City case. The media publicized it, commissions were appointed. But no case was filed or no punishment meted out.
Now Arjun Aloysius says that he cannot provide evidence. If he has not committed any wrong, why is he afraid to provide evidence? They are using various tactics in order to safeguard themselves. They are trying to cover it up now. Are they afraid that the Prime Minister too will have to come and provide evidence? Are they afraid that the names of more ministers will be exposed? It's now time for the cartoon of the week.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자.
A book authored by Chaturika Sirisena, the daughter of President Maithripala Sirisena, was launched today. The book is titled Janadipati Tata.
The book launch was held at the BMICH in Colombo. The President, the Prime Minister and several ministers attended the event. The first copy of the book was handed over to President Maithripala Sirisena and First Lady Jayanti Sirisena, and another was presented to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The book was also presented to the daughter of former President William Gopal Lava and the daughter of former President R. Premadasa, Dulanjali Premadasa. Isha Vijayveera, the daughter of the former leader of the JVP, Rohana Vijayveera, was also presented a book.
Dulanjali speaks to me and says, "Protect your father." She tells me how poison was added to the vegetables that were brought from President Premadasa during his time. She says, "Sister, protect your father at all times." She says that the month of May is the most painful time of the year for her, because President Premadasa has spoken to her over the phone when she was abroad and asked her to join the May Day rally with him. Since Dulanjali was newly wedded at the time and since she was overseas, she could not attend. Her husband had wanted her to be overseas for a few more days. When she returned to the island, her father was no more. Preface of this book is dedicated to the daughter of Rohana Vijayveera. She did not know when she was born that she would be the daughter of Rohana Vijayveera. My opinion is that children should be provided justice with all these great political experiences.
Chaturika Sirisena spoke of her father's political experiences.
I'm aware that as a children of the first citizen, the acceptance we have when we travel on the road or at other places will be lost as soon as my father loses these positions. I've understood this well. Lots of people ask me in secret whether I am going to enter politics. I have just one thing to say. Aristotle said that the man was a political animal. The political process that I see and the political that I have studied is not the politics that is carried out in parliament or the power struggle. The politics that I believe and the politics that I follow is politics that provided a service to the betterment of the people. I will carry out the voluntary service to the best of my ability until the end of my life.
Now, just a recap of the event that saw the launching of a book authored by Chaturika Sirisena, daughter of President Maithripala Sirisena, titled Janadipati Thata. The President, the Prime Minister and several ministers attended the event. The first copy of the book was handed over to President Maithripala and First Lady Jayanti Sirisena, and another presented to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Minister Lakshman Kirella, speaking to Pathandumbara, commented on the Central Expressway.
In the past week, you would have witnessed attempts made by certain media to sabotage work on the Kandy-Colombo Expressway. Some people in the area envy this and are attempting to sabotage it. These are conspirators. For 20 years, they could not do anything. The previous government ruled for 20 years. We are doing what they failed to do. There were many complaints about this expressway. The Prime Minister made a 30-minute speech to respond to those who made complaints. The media questions, why is this being built? We do not have time to respond to such statements. We need to make a request from the media. When such attacks are made, it sends a message of fear to those who want to invest in it. They are trying to attack this project, intimidate the investors and bring it to a stop. I wish to tell them, the Central Expressway is no ordinary road. It is a sin to attack the construction of an expressway that is used by pilgrims to pay reverence to the sacred tooth relic. This is not only benefiting the people of Kandy. Southerners can come to Kandy in an hour to pay reverence to the sacred of the tooth relic. We urge the media to stop this. We will officially inform the Mahasangha of this media campaign. I must remind you, we will reveal matters of people in all media institutions in the future.
Minister Lakshman Kirella. Yes, the Prime Minister made a statement to Parliament. News First responded to that statement in a matter of minutes in our news bulletins. We have never stated the government must not invest in expressways. What we are pointing out is the serious flaws that have taken place in the tender process. The question is who is behind the continuous support to a company that has been rejected by the system on more than one occasion. Why is the fact that this company has a questionable track record being ignored? Why are you hell-bent on a loan on commercial terms from the Tokyo Mitsubishi Bank, which will cost the country a lot more than if it was state concessionary credit from the Japanese government? Why have you agreed to such a high insurance premium? Have all the necessary environmental approvals been obtained? Have the people who will lose their property been compensated and resettled? What is the urgent need to construct this expressway? Taisei Corporation, to which the tender for Phase 3 of the Central Expressway is said to have been awarded to, is a firm that faced allegations at the Japan Fair Trade Commission for tender fraud. Taisei Corporation also faces allegations over a sinkhole on a main street in Tokyo, Japan. In February 2015, the media made the first expose on the Treasury bond scam. The people will never forget those who took steps to conceal this fraud and also protect those involved. At present, the gravity of this scam and the names of those involved are coming to light before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Minister Lakshman Kirella, you said you will expose certain things about the media. We must inform you that the media is also ready to make the necessary exposes in the interest of the public. One may think that admonishing others whilst being protected by parliamentary privileges is a courageous act. But we would like to remind those guilty of this that the free media is anything but intimidated. The last budget allocated just 77 billion rupees for school education. However, Taisei Corporation's bid for just the construction of the third phase is 134 billion rupees. Minister Kiriyalla, regardless of your rhetoric, the public are watching your every move, particularly as it seemed like the third phase of the Central Expressway is being handled under a shroud of suspect dealing. We wish to re-emphasize the fact that we will continue relentlessly to report in the interest of the public.
In other local news, the general public have expressed their displeasure over the dilapidated roads in many rural areas and irregularities that take place when renovating such roads.
The main road from Dharaniyagala to Polgaswatta is in battered state and has hampered the day-to-day activities of the people in the area. Locals say they made several requests to authorities to lay the carpet on the road, but nothing has been done so far. It was on the 14th of March that locals decided to write to the subject minister requesting the road be renovated. As a result, on the 1st of June, the Sabaragamuwa Provincial Council dispatched the executive engineer of Dehiovita to look into the development aspect of this road. However, based on the report of the executive engineer that a separate road had been carpeted, the Sabaragamuwa Provincial Council informs the provision for the development of the Dharaniyagala Polgaswatta road have been cancelled.
A letter had been sent to the society citing that a road had been carpeted and the government had recalled the funds that were allocated. The road was never renovated. A malpractice has taken place somewhere. Those who committed the wrong must be punished and the truth must be revealed.
At present, the country is taking billions in foreign loans for the construction of expressways. These roads must be renovated. The revenue for the state comes from here. The country's economy is strengthened with a simple kilogram of tea from our village.
We frequently report on certain people moving towards large-scale projects expecting massive commissions. However, there are many farmers who end their lives because they cannot repay loans they obtain for cultivations. Yet, there are politicians who enjoy the luxury at the expense of public funds.
Recently, a big onion farmer from Habarana, Puakpitia, committed suicide because he could not bear the destruction caused to his cultivations. K. Gunaratna, who was making ends meet amidst many difficulties, took a decision to take his life on the 12th because he was finding it difficult to repay the loans he had taken following the destruction to his cultivation. Providing evidence for the post-mortem, the wife of the 57-year-old father of two, S. Neelavati, said her husband consumed poison and committed suicide. At a time when farmers are committing suicide simply because they cannot repay the debt after they fail to reap the harvest, it is also true that millions are paid as rent for an unoccupied building for the Ministry of Agriculture. Should we remain idle while many more farmers such as Gunaratna decide to end their lives? The national organizer of the All Peasants Federation, Namal Karunaratna, visited the family of K. Gunaratna and inquired into the well-being.
A conference titled Sri Lanka, The Way Forward was held in Colombo yesterday.
From 1948 to today, it has been only two parties who have been in power. I think except for those who came into politics just recently, everyone else who has been in power and who are in power now need to be jailed. We should build a couple of new prisons and imprison the lot. And then we should hand over the country to the youth. Otherwise, we cannot change the present political environment. When I speak of a prison, I am referring to luxurious prisons that are very comfortable, because all our politicians spend very comfortable, luxurious lives in Parliament. Therefore, Valikada will not suit them. Prisons must be built so that the entire lot can be put in. If a country is to develop and progress, thievery and corruption must be halted completely.
I'm Jitendra Kunasena.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Take care and good night.